Here is what Thai women still do in the bedroom that Western women gave up on what it is, why it disappeared from Western intimate culture, and why its presence in Thailand is one of the things men cannot stop going back for. Female initiation in the Western bedroom has become, for many couples, a fraught and overcomplicated thing, layered with questions about whose desire is centered, what initiation signals about power and vulnerability, who reaches first. The result is that genuine, uncomplicated female initiation, a woman who wants her partner and reaches for him simply because she wants him, has become increasingly rare in Western intimate life. Thai women still do this without the political layer, without the performance of not wanting to want, simply because they want to. Thai female sexuality has not been run through the same cultural processing, the specific cognitive overhead of managing how desire looks, what initiation signals, whether wanting something is compatible with strength. These questions have not installed themselves in Thai women in the same way. He had not made a move. He had been lying there, tired, not expecting anything. She had reached for him, simply, without preamble or negotiation or any of the careful signaling he had learned to navigate at home. Afterward, he tried to name what had been different. The best he could manage was, "She wanted me and she showed me." I had forgotten that was a thing that could happen without a conversation first. Simply meet it. She reached for you because she wanted you. The only appropriate response is wanting her back. She wanted me and she showed me. I had forgotten that was a thing that could happen without a conversation first. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos in the future. There is a critical distinction between feeling desired and feeling accepted. In an intimate context, acceptance is the absence of rejection. Desire is the presence of wanting. Western men have, in many long-term relationships, spent years experiencing acceptance while desire quietly left the building. Thai women make men feel desired, specifically, actively, with a directness of wanting that is entirely different from warm tolerance. The difference is felt in the body before it is understood in the mind. A man who has spent years experiencing acceptance and then experiences desire registers the difference physiologically. Something changes in how he inhabits himself. He becomes more present, more himself. The desired man is a different man than the accepted man. He had been in a 12-year relationship at home, warm, functional, companionable. He could not remember the last time his wife had looked at him like she was pleased he was specifically there. In Thailand, the first evening, a woman had looked at him like that, just looked. He had stood slightly differently afterward. He had not noticed for several hours that he was doing it. His posture had changed, because being desired produces a different body than being accepted. Be the kind of man who is worth desiring, not in the performative sense, in the genuine sense. She can feel whether she is genuinely wanted in return, and she gives more of herself when she is. Being desired produces a different body than being accepted. He had not known that until he felt the difference. The post-intimacy window, the 15, 20, 30 minutes after, has become in many Western relationships a period of mutual management. Both people recalibrating the dynamic, returning to their separate interior spaces. What Thai women still do in this window is something that has quietly disappeared from most Western intimate relationships. They tend, they bring water, they stay close. They treat the aftermath as an extension of the intimacy rather than the beginning of its conclusion. Being tended to after intimacy without having asked for it, without it being a performance, this is one of the rarest and most quietly significant experiences available in an intimate relationship. It tells him something that is very difficult to say directly. You matter to me in the ordinary moments, not just the charged ones. He had been half asleep. He had heard her move. She had come back with water. Just water. Set it on the table beside him without waking him. He had not been fully asleep. He had watched her do it. He had thought, nobody has done that for me. Ever. In 54 years of life, nobody has brought me water in that specific moment. He had drunk the water when she was back beside him. He thought about it for weeks, not the intimacy. The water. Receive it without commentary. Then reciprocate in kind, notice what she might need in the aftermath, and provide it without being asked. Not the intimacy. The water. He thought about it for weeks. Western intimate culture has produced a specific relationship between women and vocal expression during intimacy, one that is either heavily managed toward a perceived ideal or performatively rejecting of any vocal expression as a response to the managed version. Neither version is authentic. Thai women who have not been through the same conditioning express what they feel when they feel it, not loudly, not theatrically, but genuinely. The sounds that escape are involuntary and therefore real. The involuntary is the confirmation it tells him that something real is happening, not something managed. A man who has spent years receiving managed expression and then receives something involuntary experiences the difference as relief that is almost physiological. He had been waiting for the familiar performance arc of sound. It did not come. What came instead was quieter and more specific, nothing where nothing was happening, something where something was, and that something involuntary in a way that no performance could replicate. He understood in that specific moment that he had spent years calibrating himself to something false. He recalibrated toward the real thing. It was the most natural adjustment he had ever made. Stop performing and start listening. Her real expression is in the quiet, involuntary moments, not in the theatrical ones. He understood in that specific moment that he had spent years calibrating himself to something false. Recalibrating toward the real thing was the most natural adjustment he had ever made. Tell me in the comments which one of these hit closest to something you recognized without having had language for it before. I want to know what you were carrying without knowing you were carrying it. Every man watching this video is carrying a calibration he does not know about. Years of Western relationships, Western signals, Western expectations of what intimacy looks and sounds like. And he is about to walk into a room or is already in one where almost none of that calibration applies. Not because he is wrong, because he is in a different country with a different woman operating from a completely different set of values and signals and unspoken rules, and he's gonna miss it. Not all of it, but enough. He is going to misread her silence. He is going to respond to her warmth in the wrong way. He is going to do what worked at home in a context where it does the opposite. And he is going to leave Thailand wondering why it was so close but never quite real. That gap between what is actually available to him here and what he actually accesses is entirely closable. I know this because I wrote the guide that closes it. It is called From Hello to Her Bedroom, 10 chapters, everything from finding the right woman, to reading her correctly, to what the first night actually means to her, to how to be the man she is still thinking about after you leave. Written by me, a Thai woman, from the inside of everything this video is describing. The man who reads it does not make the expensive mistakes. He does not misread her initiation and kill the moment. He does not respond to her warmth with the wrong kind of pressure. He does not leave her with something she has to carry alone because he never understood what he was asking her to give. Right now, the guide is $14. That is less than 2 drinks in Bangkok. And the mistakes. It prevents the missed connections, the wasted evenings, the relationships that were close to something real and never got there. Those mistakes cost considerably more than $14. In time and money and in the specific feeling of having been close to something and having it slip. Find it in the pinned comment at the top. Not the description, the pinned comment. Western intimate culture has developed, over time, a specific geography of permitted and unpermitted physical zones, areas offered freely, areas that require prior negotiation, areas complicated by accumulated weight of previous relationships and cultural messaging. Thai women do not carry the same invisible architecture. She's physically present in a way that is total, not because she has no limits. She has limits she enforces with complete ease, but because the pre-decided geography of what is permitted does not exist in the same form, she responds to what is actually happening rather than to a map drawn in advance. The man who has spent years navigating the invisible architecture encounters a woman without it and initially does not know what to do with the freedom. When the disorientation passes, what replaces it is something that feels like being in the room with an actual person, rather than a managed presentation of one. He had been careful. Old habit. She had moved his hand, not away, somewhere else entirely, somewhere the architecture at home had not included. He had been surprised by his own surprise. He had thought, I did not know I was still operating from that map. I thought I had let it go years ago. He had not let it go. He had simply not encountered someone who did not share it. He let it go then. Completely. It was easier than he expected. Release the map before you enter the room. She is not navigating by your map. Navigate by what is actually happening between you. He had not known he was still operating from that map. He had simply never encountered someone who did not share it. He let it go. It was easier than he expected. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos in the future. The specific way that Western intimate culture has reasonably and rightly worked to center female pleasure has produced, as a side effect in many relationships, a dynamic where the man's pleasure is treated as secondary, assumed, or politically complicated. What Thai women still do is hold both simultaneously, her pleasure and his, attended to with equal genuine interest, neither one made to feel like a burden on the other. She attends to his pleasure not as a sacrifice of her own, but as an expression of what she wants, the experience of being with someone who is fully present and fully engaged. His pleasure is not separate from hers. She treats them as the same thing. Attending to his pleasure is not a political position for her. It is the natural expression of genuine interest in the person she is with. She had been paying attention in a way he was not accustomed to, noticing what worked, returning to it, attending to him specifically rather than to a general theory of what men want. He had thought, she is interested in me, actually interested in what I specifically feel, not in the category I represent. He had felt, for the first time in years, like a specific person rather than a demographic. He had given back the same quality of attention. It had been the best evening he had had in longer than he could accurately remember. Reciprocate the attention. This mutual specificity is what distinguishes an encounter from an experience. She seemed to actually care whether he was here. Not as a demographic, as a specific person. He had not felt that in longer than he could accurately remember. The final thing Thai women still do in the bedroom that Western women have largely given up on is the simplest and the one that carries the most weight. They stay. Not physically, Western women stay too. They stay in body while departing in some more significant sense, their presence becoming slightly managed, slightly already somewhere else before the evening is actually over. Thai women stay in the full sense present, warm, unhurried, as if the time after is as real as the time during. She stays because staying is what the moment requires, and the moment is where she is. The experience of someone staying fully tells him, without words, that what happened was real and that the real has not ended. It was late. He had expected the familiar transition, the gathering of things, the managing of the goodbye, the specific way that evenings end when they end. She was lying beside him, not anxious, not preparing to leave, simply there. He had not needed to say anything. She had not needed to say anything. Time passed that he could not account for afterward. He thought, I have not felt time pass like this in 20 years. Like it was allowed to. He had not known time needed to be allowed to pass. He thought that only happened when you were young. It happened here. Stay and return, be equally present, equally unhurried, equally content to simply be in the same space with someone who has just been close to you. He had not known time needed to be allowed to pass. He thought that only happened when you were young. It happened here. Creating those videos is often stressful next to a full-time job. So if you enjoy watching my videos, then please support me by subscribing to my channel. If you want to find the woman who still does all of this and you want to do it right rather than by accident, the guide is $14 and you can find it in the pinned comment. Everything between finding her and being fully present with her. That is what it covers.